Hey, this is Chris from Wolftooth, and you're listening to The Dan Chan Show.
Hey, Chris, how's things, mate?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. So, how are things for you during the pandemic in Indiana?
Just shitty, like for everybody else, basically.
Yeah.
The United States right now, we're having a spike, like everybody else around the world, and people are taking it serious, but it's just what it is. I can't wait for it to be gone.
Don't we all, eh?
Yeah.
Now, for those that don't know you, you're veterans to the industry, but the band is relatively new. How did you guys get together and decide on the direction that you're currently taking?
Well, we got together in 2017 or 16, really, but we had been together previously, about 4 years earlier, and we were calling ourselves Wolftooth. Unfortunately, the drummer at the time couldn't play. He had another band that he was playing with and decided to stick with them. So we kind of just disbanded at the time, and I took a few years off of playing and decided around 2016 to contact Terry, the bass player, and get together and start writing some new songs. And we had 2 or 3 songs that we had written before that we stuck with.
Yeah.
And called Johnny up, our drummer, and Jeff to come back and play again, because they were all in Wolftooth before, but we never really got off the ground at all. So we just decided to keep going forward with what we had.
So is this the first band that's actually got signed to labels and stuff?
It is. We had all been in bands previous together off and on throughout the years, and we always, tried to get signed, tried to send out packages, and it's just way different now with the internet, and your music is so much more accessible to everyone than it was 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've been there, done all that. I've emailed and sent letters out and sent packages out myself.
Yeah, and 90% of the time they get thrown in the trash.
Exactly. So, because obviously,
just,
in all due respect, without using a pun, you look long in the tooth, shall we say? You're not the youngest of the bands, but you're just getting there now. It shows your tenacity, right?
Yeah, we're all in our mid to late 40s. When we first got signed, of course, we were 4 years younger, so I was 44 at the time. Yeah. But we are definitely ones to stick with what we want to do. This band wasn't really meant to ever get to the level that we are now. We just kind of started it as weekend warrior type thing, just something we wanted to do. And Johnny always called it our retirement band. But I kind of felt like we had something good going when we first started writing stuff. So, we went into the studio, recorded our 3-song EP and put it out, and people liked it. So it's kind of, it kind of hit us weird, honestly. We didn't expect anything that's happened. Nothing. Not one thing.
Well, that's cool. I suppose as you get older, you expect less from the world, don't you? And I suppose if you're getting signed at this, at this age in your life, it's fantastic. It's a good message to other people as well. Keep at it. Yeah.
Honestly, a couple years before we did this, I thought that I would probably never play music again, but never have the chance to do what we're doing. And things don't always come when you want it to. They come when you need it.
Yeah.
And we must have just needed this in our life at this time. Maybe we weren't mature enough earlier on in our lives to be able to handle
that's a good way of looking at it
now.
Yeah.
It's just if we would have gotten to do what we've done so far with this band in our 20s, who knows what we would have done and ruined. And so I think it just came when the time was right, and we're just kind of going along with whatever we're given.
Awesome. Now onto the music. Back in December, you released your new album, Blood and Iron. This was quite a quick response to your 2020 release, Valhalla. Is it because of the pandemic that you shortened the album cycle, or was it changing label, or what?
A little bit of both. It was, we had a lot of extra time to to write because we couldn't play out for our second album, Valhalla, which dropped in May of 2020. And that was right when the pandemic hit. And so everything got shut down as soon as we were getting ready to start trying to do some touring for that album. So, you know, instead of playing those songs every week at practice, we just decided to write new stuff because we knew we weren't going to be able to play those songs out anyway. So, and I'm always writing anyway. I mean, I write almost daily. Yeah. And so, it's not so much that it was that quick. I mean, if I could go back in the studio in 2 months, I would.
Yeah. Do you enjoy recording more than playing live?
Well, at this point, no, because we haven't really got to play live much, and that's what we do well. A lot of people have told us that we're a lot better band live than we are on record.
Oh, really?
So we just have a heavier tone, and I don't know, just more energy, I would say, comes across live than on the record. But no, I wouldn't say it's more fun. I do enjoy putting everything together and hearing what it sounds like when it's all done. Yeah. But no, playing live is definitely fun. It's definitely fun.
So we're a month into the album release. How's the reaction been so far?
It's been really pretty good so far. As far as sales goes and everything, I don't really know too much about how much we've actually sold because with holidays and everything being, you know, right around the corner of the release, we haven't been in contact a whole lot with the label right now just because a lot of them are still on vacation. Yeah. And that's one thing I've noticed about Europeans over the United States. Man, they go on vacation a lot.
Oh, we do that a lot over here, I tell you. That's why I moved to Spain. Even more holidays in the UK.
Yeah, right. So I'm thinking I need to move to the UK or somewhere to get some of my vacation time in.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this album drops more heavy metal influence compared to, say, the first two records. Shall we say we're more sludgy doom? Was this a conscious effort, or did it evolve with the writing?
It kind of just evolved with the writing. I mean, we've all been in metal bands before. This band kind of is kind of a departure from what we've done before as far as the doom type. We were all in a band before together called Warhound, and it never really went anywhere, but it was like the precursor to Wolftooth, and it was way more Sabbathy, and I would say more doomy than even Wolftooth was. But you know, we all come from metal backgrounds. I mean, even new metal. We played new metal at one time, which, you know, I guess is making a resurgence. But but no, it wasn't really a conscious effort. It's just basically what we wanted to write. And you know, if most people expect the same album from us twice, it's probably not going to happen. I mean, I think we're evolving with every record, and hopefully we'll keep evolving with every record. I don't want to get us, and we don't want to get pigeonholed into one certain thing, because we want to be able to write what we feel and at the time. So, you know, the next album may be heavier, it may be more metal, it may be less. I don't know. It just depends on what we feel like at the time.
So do you think that makes the journey more exciting for you, or more exciting for the fans, or both?
I think it makes it more exciting for us as writers, because we don't feel like we're in a box of having to stay in one certain genre. I don't know that a lot of the fans like it. You've got your diehard fans that want you to stay the same through every album.
That's the problem, isn't it?
And that can be problematic for the band. But, you know, I mean, look at Sabbath. I mean, they evolved, you know, definitely from Ozzy to Dio and Tony Martin, and they're all the same band, but they're all different to me. They all sound different. So, you know, if Sabbath only stayed with the way they were writing the first two albums or three albums or whatever, even acquiring Dio and acquiring Tony Martin, and I don't think that the albums would have been as good if they wouldn't have evolved musically.
Yeah. I agree with that. Now, what you write about, you like to write about myths and legends and fantasy. Now, there's a reason why you write about what you write about rather than your personal situations. Can you explain?
Yeah, I don't like to write too much about personal experiences anymore. I used to in bands that I was in the past, but people just don't seem to relate as much. If it's not happening to them, they don't relate as much. I mean,
It depends what you've been through. Depends what you've been through, Chris.
True. I mean, I've been through quite a bit. I mean, I've been through, the death of a child, and I've been through multiple health issues, and
sorry to
been broken up quite a bit in my life. Been in the bed for 3 and 4 months at a time, healing up from broken bones and things like that. And those are some things that some people might relate to, but not everyone. Everyone, I feel like, can relate to getting out of their own head, going on a journey, and being taken away from their own life and being taken away from their own problems and being taken to another place where maybe they can forget about their own problems. I think more people would respond to that than, to me losing a child, or to me, whatever's happened in my life.
I get that. I can understand that. Now, what's your favorite myth, legend, fantasy that you've written about?
I really like Scylla and Charybdis, which is off of our Valhalla album.
Go on then.
It's about 2 sea monsters that you have to choose a path, basically, and there's really no right choice, because on one side you've got a sea monster named Scylla, and the other one's like a whirlpool, Charybdis. So there's really you just got to stay the straight and narrow. I like that idea. And then on the new album, I really like A King's Land, because that was about the Red Hand of Ulster.
Yeah.
Story of the person chopping their hand off, throwing it on the shore to claim the land of Ulster. Yeah. And I really like Blood and Iron, it being about Cuchulainn from Ireland. I think that's a really interesting story.
Yeah. Now, do you research the subject matter, or are you a well-rounded, well-read kind of guy?
I'm decently well-read, but I always go into depth more in research when I write about something, just so I pretty much know my facts, and I don't want to say something that wouldn't be true to the story.
Of course. Yeah, you've got to get your facts right. And when it comes to lyrics, we've mentioned the lyrics a lot, but when it comes to music, do you prefer the riff element, or do you prefer to write the lyrics? What do you prefer? What comes first?
Oh, the riff. I much prefer the riff. I wouldn't care if I never had to write lyrics again. Oh, really? Honestly, that's one of the parts of music that I love. Playing music, I love writing music, but when it comes to vocals, it's painful for me, honestly. And I tell the guys all the time, I wish we had another singer. Okay. But it wouldn't be the same with another singer. I mean, we talked about getting another singer to begin with when we first started, and the guys said no, we are not having another singer. You're singing. We love your voice. We want you to sing. So, and I've always sang in other bands that I've been in, so it seemed natural for me to do it. But when it comes time to write the vocals, I'm just like, oh my God, I hate this.
Yeah. Well, the band's evolving. You never know what the future holds.
That's true.
Especially with your band. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out your influences. It's a mix of heavy metal with stoner doom. It's all done in a way that people like myself thoroughly love. Do you think that nostalgia plays a big part in the metal scene?
I think it probably does. I think people like to revisit what they listened to when they were younger, maybe when they were at a better time in their life, or a more fun time in their life. I don't know, maybe better, but I know for me, when I put on Kiss or AC/DC or Black Sabbath or something from my childhood, it kind of takes me back and, makes me feel good. But as far as our music goes, I think it definitely, tradition, and it plays a big part in our writing style.
Yeah. Now, we just touched upon it earlier. How did the Napalm Records deal come about? I believe that's quite new for this new album, right?
Yeah, actually, I think it was 2 weeks after we dropped Valhalla, we got an email from Sebastian from Napalm, and he asked if we were committed to another album with anyone, and we told him no, that we weren't, and the discussions started from there. It was actually, we thought somebody was playing a joke on us, because, you know, what are the chances of some 40-year-old guys just playing music to have fun, getting
that's it.
Yeah, getting an email from Napalm Records that they want to possibly sign you.
Amazing. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like I said, we thought somebody was playing a joke on us, so at first we didn't even respond. Yeah. So then I was like, well, maybe we better respond, just in case it's not a joke. And it wasn't.
That's amazing. So cool. So show-wise, and I'm sure Napalm have helped you with this, show-wise, firstly, what can we expect from a Wolftooth show? And secondly, I've seen that you've just announced a European tour for April and May of this year. Are you excited to be getting over to Europe?
Oh, yeah, we're very excited. None of us have ever been there before.
Oh, that's cool. Brilliant.
We're just hoping with COVID and everything that it still and goes through well. I mean, I know Canada's already starting to shut down again, and Germany, I think, is starting to shut down again, and so we're just hoping that it goes off with no problems. But we're definitely so pumped to come over there.
Fingers crossed for you. So, what can we expect from a Wolftooth show?
Well, I think you can expect high energy. You can expect us to try to sound as close to the record as possible.
Yeah.
We try to, even with some of the 3-part harmonies and things like that, we try to make it as close to what you hear on the record as possible. And I think we do a pretty good job of it. You're going to hear really good tones. You're going to hear, it's going to be loud, and it's going to be metal. It's a fun show.
Everything we need. Have you done many shows in the last year?
Our last show was November, I want to say 6th. But yeah, that was the first show we have played in almost 2 years.
Right.
And
was it nervous doing that? Were you on edge?
A little bit. It was a little nerve-wracking, just because we hadn't been on stage for almost 2 years, and we were playing songs in front of people that we'd never played before.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah, so we weren't sure exactly, how they would go over, but it went really well.
Now, obviously, Europe's one of them, but what festivals, countries, cities, or venues that you haven't played are you potentially looking forward to playing in the future?
Right now, we're looking forward to playing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, any festival, we would love to hit some big festivals over in Europe, for sure. I mean, we're on Desert Fest, which is our first big festival over there.
Yeah.
But we would love to hit anything, Bloodstock. I mean, anything like that over there, we would love to hit. Any festivals here in the United States, we would love to hit. We're just ready to play. We just want to get out and play, honestly. Because if we don't do that soon, I mean, we're just going to start writing a new album.
I miss another cycle. But your music fits into so many. You can play so many things, can't you? You play with so many different bands, so many different festivals.
I feel like we can.
Absolutely.
I feel like we could fit with a lot of different genres. We can fit in doom festival. We can fit in stoner festivals. We can fit in heavy metal festivals. I mean, death metal festivals, things like that. Probably not so much, but yeah. I mean, I feel like we could open or play with a lot of different bands.
You call yourself heavy metal riff worshippers. So with that in mind, what do you think is the best riff of all time? You can have a couple of choices if you want.
A couple of choices. Oh my God. I love the main riff in Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty iconic. I mean, there's actually a couple new ones there's a couple from Spirit Adrift there's one on their new album that's just amazing, and there's one on their last album, Forge Your Future. I think there's one on it, and then there's one on their last album, Enlighten Eternity. They're just like, man, those are two riffs that I'll never forget. So, but Sabbath, I mean, definitely, and Iron Maiden has countless riffs. Judas Priest has countless riffs that are amazing. So it's just too hard. I mean, there's just so many good riffs out there. I'm
disappointed, mate, but I want one or two solid ones, but it'll do.
I'm just too undecided. I'll give you Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. I'm going with Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath for my all-time favorite.
That'll do for me, mate. So on that note, what turned you into metal? What bands made a young Chris stop and listen? the obvious big ones, right? You just named them.
Yeah, I mean, actually, when I was, I don't know, probably 13, the very first Suicidal Tendencies album.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, I was more of a kind of a punk rocker at that time. Loved punk rock and hardcore and things like that. But that first Suicidal Tendencies album it just struck me. And from there, it just grew, you know, from more of their albums. And then, of course, Metallica and Iron Maiden and Ozzy Osbourne at the time, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to love Pantera, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the big hitters.
Pantera I saw Pantera really before most people knew who they were.
Really? So
it was kind of cool because I didn't know who they were when I first saw them play. They were actually touring with Suicidal Tendencies and Exodus.
Awesome.
And they were the opener. So I was like,
nice.
Yeah. So that kind of introduced me to that. But mainly the big. I mean, I was a big Misfits fan, and
Class.
You know.
Now, personally for the band, what's on your music bucket list?
I would say playing a big festival that had, you know, 50,000 people there or more. And I know in Europe, a lot of the festivals get that many people.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, here in the United States, it's weird because unless you're on a huge festival, like I don't even know what it would be here in the United States, but unless you're on something really huge with really big bands like Metallica or Megadeth or something, you're not going to see 50,000 people. You're going to see maybe 10,000.
Yeah, yeah.
But over in Europe, you know, from what I hear and
metal
from what I've seen,
metal rules, man.
Yeah, it's like 50,000 people at a big festival is nothing over there.
That's right.
So I would say if we ever get the chance to do that, I would feel pretty good. But I go into this not expecting too much, just because I don't want to be let down.
No.
We didn't expect anything to start with, and this is where we're at now. So I think that's a good thing to do, is just not expect too much, and then roll.
I can see you on those big stages. I can see you doing that, and it's going to happen.
I hope so. I mean, we love to play music. It's just, you know, we're gonna ride the train wherever the train takes us, and
best way.
Do whatever we have to do to
long in the tooth. You're pragmatic.
Yeah.
Now, this is always a tough one. What one track from your repertoire do you think sums Wolftooth up the best?
Wow.
Now, one track here. It's not the riffs. You can't just name random ones. It could be one track.
One track.
If you had to play one person, this is our band. This is what we do best. Bang. That's one track. There you go.
I'm going to say,
what do you end your set with? Something like that.
Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah.
Because it's a little bit of everything of what we do.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of proto metal. It's a little bit of doom. It's a little bit of stoner. It's a little bit of traditional. So I would say Valhalla if I had to pick one.
Now, last but not least, do you have a message to the fans, new and old?
Yeah. We just really appreciate all the support that anybody has ever given us through the past almost 5 years. All the new fans, we hope you go back. You know, if you just heard Blood and Iron, which in my opinion is probably our best album, but you may like the first album better, or you may like Valhalla better. I encourage you to go back through our catalog and check those out. And just hopefully we see you at some festivals or shows here in the near future. We're wanting to get out and play for you guys.
Chris, thanks so much for joining me on the show. Good luck for the rest of 2022 and beyond.
Thank you so much.